Welcome to another episode of OG55 on this wonderful Lunar New Year. We are live. We are back. I got the Italiano with me today. We are taking your questions, your comments up next on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to a wonderful Lunar New Year. I want to wish everybody out there a very, very happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year. So everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us on this holiday. George, welcome back, sir. How you doing?
Doing good. So glad to be back. It's been a while. It's been a real minute since we did a OG55 live, and what a better way to do it than to do it on Lunar New Year, which, by the way, we did not plan that, folks. It just happened to fall into our lap like a lot of other things. But
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. And we will get into all the festivities. Before we do, though, George, where can everybody find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. We got a lot of people in the chat already. We got Mr. Matthew Murr, Googamp, Jesse Adventure, Lucas and Disney, one of our wonderful mods, T.S. Wade, Abigail, another mod, Disney Diva Gem. I do want to say, speaking about the mods, though, oh, and Webba, he's another WOB, another mod and a member. I do want to say, too, speaking of the mods, I want to thank you guys and gals for all you do. I don't say it enough, and I do want to thank you all. If anyone ever feels uncomfortable or they feel like they've been harassed or they're having a problem, I'm not that available to see the chat all the time. If there's any issues, you can always DM me personally. You can always bring it up to us. I want everyone here to feel welcome and comfortable. And if there's any issues like that, I will not put up with that, and we will not put up with that. So, but again, thank you to all the mods. We do appreciate you. Mr. Italiano, should we start with Matthew Murr?
Let's get it.
All right, we got a $10 euro all the way from the UK from Mr. Matthew Murr. Are you worried at all about the prospect of Josh D'Amaro becoming CEO? Or do you think he might just be meaningless figurehead in a dual CEO partnership with Dana Walden? Well, here's the thing, Matthew. If he is in a co-CEO situation, that is not a meaningless figurehead. That has serious power. But I will say this. I will not be worried at all if he is there with Dana and they have equal powers, or even if it's like Dana's the CEO and he's the president of the Walt Disney Company. I would feel 100% okay with that. My issue all along is having a theme park person, right? After we just got off, the Chapek era, theme park products guy, right? Having a theme park person running the entire company again. On top of that, as nice and as charming and as charismatic as D'Amaro is, I personally, I know that George, you feel very similar. The way he's handled the parks hasn't been great. It's been spotty at best, right? On top of that, Hollywood is a changing industry right now. Seismic shift is occurring with the streaming and all that stuff. We cannot afford to have Josh come in there, not being a studio guy, coming in there and sort of learning as he goes, basically, with the studio stuff. I want a Hollywood person. I want a studio person like Dana or someone else, even an outsider. I'm fine with that. I want someone to know this studio inside and out. We need that right now. We do not need a theme park person learning on the job. I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable with that. On top of the fact that he hasn't been that great, even in his niche with the theme park stuff, he hasn't been that great. So I'm strongly against the whole Josh thing as just a CEO. Co-CEO, different. President, that's fine too. But just him as a CEO, no, thank you. What say you, Italiano?
Same thing as you were saying. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with a dual role. With him being on the creative side, with someone who knows the business, knows the studio, someone like Dana Walden. again, the president role that they bring back that they used to have a long time ago. He would be one step down from Walden or whoever else steps into the role of CEO. I just, again, nothing against him personally. He's a great guy. I got to meet him, very charismatic, very big personality, people person, but that kind of goes all out the window when you don't have the chops to hold the job position, because if he goes down and he's the captain, the ship goes down with it. And we can't afford that to happen again.
It's too risky. I agree with George on this. It's too risky. We can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? We're finally coming out of a slump here at Disney. You know, we're finally coming out of a slump after the pandy, after some management changes with Chapek and then Iger coming back and this whole thing, and the studio with the streaming and all that. We can't afford to have someone come in there from the theme park. And look, at Hollywood is a very, very fickle industry. It's like I said before, it's Mean Girls. You can't sit with us kind of culture. We can't afford to have a theme park person who we don't know if they're going to gel well with the Hollywood crowd. And I know sometimes the Hollywood crowd isn't the most, lovable crowd. I mean, I get that, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. And you need to work with them in order to make moves at Disney. Chapek learned that the hard way. So again, I think DeMauro has a lot of charm. I think he probably would do better in that department than Chapek, but at the same time, it's not worth the risk. You already have Dana Walden. She knows the ropes with Hollywood. She's worked with, I know she's a progressive, but she's also worked with Rupert Murdoch, who is not a progressive. And Rupert Murdoch really, really liked her a lot and has always said good things about Walden. So I think she's the one, but I'm open to other candidates as well. But I don't know. Josh just doesn't do it for me. But actually, before we dive into our next one, I do want to do a little bit of Lunar New Year stuff. So this is the one and only, the lovely, the beautiful Asian queen on OG55. She looks familiar. Well, it's because she did our outro here on the channel. But it is Lunar New Year. She dropped a banger Instagram reel. Here it is. Oh man, I love this. I don't know what that was, but that was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. But what now, George? Have you ever celebrated? Sorry, I'm screaming because it's in my ear still. But have you ever celebrated Lunar New Year, or is this your first kind of time?
No, this is like I've been to the parks during Lunar New Year, trying the different foods and everything, but I've never actually got to partake in the actual celebratory customs that the Lunar New Year that people partake in during the holiday. Because over on the East Coast, we have cards that people come in and buy for the Lunar New Year, but I've never actually been surrounded by the culture and people that celebrate Lunar New Year. So this is actually my first time actually being a part of it.
Awesome. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. My ex-girlfriend was well, she still is Vietnamese, but when she's Vietnamese, but we're no longer together. We were together for a long time, but we're no longer together. But so I'm very familiar with it. Every single year we would celebrate. I still have, I don't know what they're called in other countries, but in Vietnam these are called leases, or we call them red envelopes. But you put money in these and you give them to family and friends, and it's to celebrate the New Year. So it's pretty awesome. And shout out to Kaylee, a friend of the channel, Kaylee, because the Hello Kitty, right? Kaylee. I know she's a big Hello Kitty person, but yeah, very cool, very awesome. And I'm really glad that it's becoming more and more mainstream out here in America, because 25 years ago, nobody knew really what this was. So it's becoming more mainstream, especially out here in California, because we're very diverse out here, which is awesome, which is one of the best things about California, in my opinion. But let's continue. Googamp 32. What do you think the current fate of the Hall of Presidents is? Honestly, I think it's completely safe. And I'll tell you why, Googamp. Disney's not going to want to rock the boat right now. They're not going to want to piss Trump off. Trump just got reelected, right? If they were to go in there now and get rid of it, it's going to get on Trump's radar. All the conservative media is going to go nuts. And it's going to put Disney back in the crosshairs with that group of people. That's the last thing Disney needs right now. Go ahead.
Not really quick, bro. And to tie into what the last question is, they're in the process of switching CEOs. So that would not look good on Iger's watch and the person that's coming in to replace him. You want to kind of stay out of the political drama by kind of staying in it, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't want to get rid of this thing. Number one, the diehard Disney fans would be super pissed. Okay, I think most diehard Disney fans would be super pissed about this move. Number one. Number two, you're gonna gain the attention of Trump and everybody else and DeSantis and all that crap, and then now you're the target again for them to essentially like pick on you again, right? And find things to kneecap the mouse house, basically, right? And we don't need any of that shit right now. Okay, we don't need any of that shit right now. I think it's fine the way it is. Just leave it. I'm sure the next time we'll have a Democrat. This stuff ebbs and flows. You know what I'm saying? We have usually a Republican administration, then we have a Democrat. It never stays too much with one party for very long. Okay, so and Trump can't run again. This is the last time he can run. He can't run again. So it's 4 years. The next after this is probably going to be a Democrat. So yeah, I think we keep it. I think it stays. But overall, you agree, George?
I agree. Yeah, they're not going to want to rock the boat right now. As I said, especially since his 4-year term is going to be intertwining with the transition of changing of CEOs. That's not going to be good for Iger leaving. That's not going to be good for the new CEO coming in. They got out of a huge pickle with the political AdSense, so to speak, of Florida, where they were back and forth with DeSantis. They're not going to want to deal with that right now, especially just coming out of the pits of all this drama with DeSantis and COVID and the shutdowns and everything. They're just going to want to kind of just keep their nose straight and keep moving forward.
Exactly. 100%. I agree. 100%. CSRS here. CSRS always asks the super nerdy questions. We can always rely and always count on CSRS for the nerdy questions, which that's why we love you, CSRS, because you are a nerd just like we are. And CSRS is asking, how much do you think the first phase of Symbolot will take up?
Ooh.
It's a tough question. It's a tough question, CSRS, because if you're talking, let's just assume, right? Let's just assume the first phase is Pandora. Well, you're probably looking at anywhere between 8 to 10 acres, because that's about the size of the one in Florida, right, George? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah, because the one in Florida, I know Jack from DSNY knows the exact, but I think he cons like the backstage area, but roughly I'd say about 10 or 11 acres.
Yeah. Yeah. So if it's Pandora, then you're looking at 10 to 12 acres. If it's, say, Coco, you're probably looking at a lot less, probably 5 or 6. If they do like a little Coco mini land with the attraction, probably like 5 or 6. So yeah, I mean, it depends on it really does depend on what you're building there. And it's hard to answer that, CSRS, without really knowing that. But right, I think the whole thing, the usable space for that lot is anywhere between 25 to 30 acres, I believe. So it definitely won't hit that much, because they're not going to want to blow their entire wad in one fell swoop. But 10 acres-ish, probably, maybe a little less.
I do know that, I think anyways, and I could be wrong, but if the Pixar Place Hotel still stands where it is today, and again, Disneyland Forward is all about change. They're going to change things up, take things out, add things in. So who knows where it'll be in 10, 15, 20 years. But just for the sake purpose of the question, say the Pixar Place Hotel stays. As much as there is a lot of Pixar already embedded in DCA, I just can't foresee them putting a non-Pixar IP land or attraction by that hotel. I think they're going to want to capitalize on rooms being bought up and have like a grand view of something with Pixar of the IP that's just adjacent away from the pier. Now, could that mean Coco? That's a possibility. I mean, we walked by the pier yesterday because we stayed for World of Color. I still don't know Yes, there is room behind the Incredicoaster where the Pixar Promenade is, but to have people go through that entranceway in the back, the pier is already crowded, and when it gets crowded, there's like a lot of cluster in the center.
Yeah.
So to have a family e-ticket attraction where you have to enter in that way, that's going to cause even more cluster.
Yeah, and here's the thing, George, and this is the thing that I agree with you. I think that if the long term plan is to keep the Pixar Place Hotel in there for the foreseeable future for decades, yeah, they're probably going to want some Pixar thing connected to it. Then that doesn't mean the whole symbol lot will be Pixar. I doubt that. It's not. They're not going to blow 30 acres on Pixar, but the areas maybe directly around that hotel might be Coco, right? That's fair. And then maybe the back end could be Pandora or something like that. But my issue though is I just think DCA has too much Pixar. Way too much Pixar. I'm so Pixar'd out when it comes to DCA. That's why I welcome Pandora. Yeah, it's an alien. It's another planet. Okay, you know what? Yeah, it doesn't fit California really at all. But you know what? It's not Pixar. Thank God. You know, it's something different. You know, that's why I want Zootopia in that park. Something different. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Tones Poppy in the house. OG looks buff nowadays, right, chat? You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Bad Thoughts. I actually started working out like a few weeks ago, I guess. I got this resistance band, which you can do everything. You can do arms, you can do chest, all that good stuff. So I've actually been I've actually been rocking it. And then Cassandra here says, yeah, buff and also thirsty for the Asian queen. Okay, Cassandra, who wouldn't be thirsty for the Asian queen? Come on.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already,
I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? So, but again, Cassandra, it's always good to see you. We love seeing you in the chat. You're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. Let me see here. So the next one is from Mr. Sam Chat. Thank you, Sam Chat, for being a member. We do appreciate you. Sam is a friend of the channel. Absolutely. He's been on the channel several times now. So really good guy. We appreciate you, Sam. Hey, OG crew. I've been really enjoying the vids coming out this past week. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. I mean, we work really hard on this content. You know, I got this 9-to-5 job. I squeeze it in with all that. And George has all kinds of stuff going on his end as well. And so we try to do as much as we can. And it means a lot, Sam, when you say stuff like that, because we put a lot of work into this stuff. I hope Dana and Josh become co-CEOs. In my opinion, Disney will be the best moving forward with the co-CEO leadership in place. I agree. Co-CEOs is really the way to go. That's how the company was founded, Walt and Roy. I think that's really the way of the future. Plus, Disney is getting really big now. It's a huge, massive corporation, and you're going to want two people there, I think, to kind of steer that ship. Now, Sam, I don't know if you're familiar, but Bob Iger actually met with the co-CEOs of Netflix, and he actually met with them and said, you know what, can this structure work for Disney? And they were having that conversation. So it is something they are looking into. Does that mean they're going to do it? Not necessarily, but they are entertaining the idea, which is good news. What say you, George? What say you, Italiana?
Yeah, for me, for a long time, it just seems like it works within that well-oiled machine. I mean, the company was brought together by the Disney brothers. You know, literally, you have Walt and Roy. One was a creative, one was a businessman. Then, you know, back in the 90s and everything, Eisner and Wells came in. One was more creative, one was more business side, doing the books, doing the numbers. And I just think that is just how Disney works. I just think that is like the best formula you can have for this particular kind of company.
Absolutely, I agree. Mr. Webba here says, we love Mr. Webba. Mr. Webba is awesome. And I have an announcement. We have an announcement on the channel about Mr. Webba later on. And George has an announcement later on in the show. We're gonna talk about all of that later.
So please stick around through the whole entire live, folks.
The whole live. But Mr. Webba says, OG's a thick boy. Hey, Webba, thicker than fog, dog. And then he says here, Italiano, when are we going to spoon again in your sweet dreams, baby boo? Yeah, that, George, what was up with that, bro? Like, is that what you're thinking about all day long where it ends up in your dream? What's going on, bro?
I have no idea what the heck. I was telling everyone, I haven't had a dream in like 15 years.
And the first one you do.
That was the first dream back. And this was around the time that Ebba went to Australia. So, I mean, we constantly usually talk, like the three of us, you know, we're either like texting or talking on the phone. But with him being in Australia, it was very, very cut off. So I don't know if just subconsciously in my mind, but I don't know how in the hell he ended up in my bed. But
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And Cassandra here says, confirming I'm thick. Yeah, I'm very girthy, Cassandra. Very girthy. Confirmed, 100%. It's so funny how off the rails our live shows go. I absolutely love this. Absolutely love this. And it's good to see you in the chat, Starship. I did notice your comment. Thank you so much, brother. Trip Johnson. It's good to see you, Trip. What do you think about It's a Small World with Groot? Do you ever see it coming statewide? You know what? A lot of diehard fans, Trip, are going to trip out. And they're tripping. They are tripping on this whole thing with the Groot stuff, right? And the Marvel stuff. Honestly, it doesn't affect me at all. And it doesn't affect me at all because it's a temporary thing. This is, like, from what I understand, it's a seasonal thing that they're putting in Small World. This is not permanent. So why are fans getting all stressed out over temporary things? Come on, fandom, pick your battles. Okay, this is a fun little Marvel entity that the Japanese are going to absolutely love. Okay, because it looks absolutely adorable, and they love Marvel. I mean, look, I follow a lot of like Japanese like cosplay accounts, and I'm telling you, the amount of Marvel cosplay during the Halloween season in Tokyo Disney is through the roof. Marvel's huge out there, you know? So why not do this? Why not? It's seasonal. I hope it comes stateside. I have no issue with it. Now, if it's a permanent thing, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That's a little different, you know, but as a temporary kind of offering, I think it's fun. It mixes it up a little bit, and it's really cute. I have zero issue with it. But what say you, Italiano? Does this really chap your hide, sir?
No, not really. And especially, again, yeah, if it's something that's temporary or something that's like a promotion or just change some things up, add a little interest to get people back onto the ride, maybe spot your favorite Marvel character or see what kind of havoc Groot is getting into. You know, I'm completely fine with that. I'm not a fan if they were to keep it permanently, because that's
Right.
like, you know, the Disney characters, you know, one thing that they're in their respected, you know, culture and lands and everything. But when it comes to Marvel, I think that's going a little bit too far, but I'm okay with it being temporary.
Yeah, a temporary seasonal thing, totally fine. Play with it. Hey, if we were so rigid on temporary stuff, we wouldn't have the great stuff like Haunted Mansion Holiday and Small World Holiday and this other stuff that came about from temporarily altering these attractions. So play with it. It's okay. Like with Pixar Fest, I get it. It's a god-awful, hideous celebration, okay? It's ugly as sin, okay?
Is that what you say? Is that what you say often? Play with it. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly, George. You got it. You read me like a book, 100%. Especially when I'm no, never mind. Especially when I'm dreaming about Emma. You know what I'm saying? I get real freaky. No, I'm just kidding. Emma. No, but it's a hideous celebration, right? But it's like it's for like 3 months. Like, who cares? Okay, it's here today. It's gone by Labor Day. Like, who gives a shit? You know. Permanent stuff, fandom. That's the stuff that we should be more concerned about. Let's pick our battles a little bit. If we're outraged with everything, Disney's not going to take any of us seriously. They're going to think we're nuts. Okay. Now, granted, I'm a little nuts. Okay. but I don't want everyone else seeming like they're really nuts. Okay. So, no, in all seriousness, though, we got to pick our battles. We really do. David Hudson is in the house. What real estate adjacent to the Disneyland Resort would you love to see Disney purchase? Okay. This is really controversial. And I know like people are going to push back on me with this. In an ideal world, David, buy out the convention center and you would have enough land probably there for a park, another park. It's never going to happen. That convention center brings in a lot of money to the city of Anaheim, but God, I would love to see that happen. Buy it out. You have a park right behind DCA. Beautiful, chef's kiss. You also, because I'm a Karen when it comes to sightlines, you would also be able to fix the sightline problem from Pixar Pier because now you have a park there and you can do what you got to do to make that work out. So put some rock work over there or whatever. So, but yeah, I would do the convention center. And hey, if Disney has to, you know, write a check and help Anaheim build a different convention center somewhere else, and by all means do that. But I think that's a perfect spot for another park. What about you, George?
Okay, so if you thought yours was controversial, I think mine is even a little bit controversial. I would honestly, in time, I would have Disney buy up all the residential area that's surrounding the Disneyland Resort. A lot of the people don't care the fact of like that they're right by the happiest place on earth. They give shit for it.
All right.
They were in the Anaheim City console bitching, moaning, and complaining. Oh, it gets too loud. Oh, I hear the fireworks. Trust me, Disneyland was there way before you were there in your house. And I don't know if I told you this, bro, but I know I talked to Ebba about it a little bit. I'd be like,
Right.
Put me on that wrecking ball. I'll come swinging in like Miley Cyrus, and I'll just be playing that song. I came in like a wrecking ball.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. And Starship says OG and George need to start a gaming series. Actually, it's interesting that you say that, Starship, because I did a show with Seymour Duck and Mr. Webba the other day about Nintendo Switch 2. And we actually talked about that, about having like Mario Kart competitions like on the channel and stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we're thinking about something fun like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Cassandra here says, is the announcement OG and Webba are a couple now? Well, here it is. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint, Cassandra. It's actually a little more complicated than that. There might be a love triangle with Webba, George, and Abigail. It's getting pretty frisky, so we'll see. Well, I don't know. But that's just a little teaser. That's just a little teaser. What say you, George? Are we a couple, or is there a love triangle going on?
I don't know. Like there possibly could be, but I mean, Ebba just has something for me that he just won't let go, and I like to see him and Abby kind of duking it out. I mean, he has been training like with that with the boxing, and Abby knows a good thing or two about like the boxing. So let's make it happen. Only on pay-per-view.
Yeah, right. Yeah, make it happen, Kevin. We got the one. Hold on, I gotta hype this guy up properly. Here we go. Drew is in the house. Drew, the Disney dude. Drew, the Disney dude. There we go. There we go. Drew, it is awesome having you join us today in the live chat. And actually, everybody check out his YouTube channel. He just dropped a video. I believe it was earlier today. So check it out. He is awesome. Friend of the channel. He's been on the channel, and he will be on the channel again very, very soon. So Drew, thank you so much, brother, for joining us. You are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let me see here. There we go. Is the announcement member exclusives of Webba with OG and Italiano Dreams? Yeah, exactly. Now, keep this in mind, everybody, okay? George is the only one here who dreams about Webba. I've never had a dream about Michael Webba, okay? So let's just keep things in perspective here.
But do we know how many dreams he has had about us?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Okay, so let's see.
He's like Freddy Krueger. He invades people's dreams.
He does. Yeah. Eva in the dreams. Jesse Adventure, thank you so much for being a member, Jesse. Do appreciate you. And Jesse, I got your comment that you watched the entire Bob Iger video. That video was like 2 hours and like 40.
Two and a half. Yeah, like almost 3 hours.
Yeah. So Jesse, like seriously, we do appreciate you. That's awesome. That was a fun conversation that we had Jay Shear, we had Seymour Duck, Mr. Webb, we had it was me, you, Jay Shear, and Seymour Duck, right? Yeah. Great conversation, all about the Bob Iger years. We deep dove into everything, absolutely everything. So thank you again, Jesse. But if you can add an attraction to Cars Land, what would be built? That's a tough one. You know what, Jesse? I'm gonna say kind of like, this is gonna sound like a cop out, but it isn't. I kind of don't want another one. I kind of like I kind of like how it is now, because we kind of have the perfect Radiator Springs, like, you know what I'm saying? If you start to like do like add-ons, you start to mess that up a little bit. I kind of want to keep it the way it is. And I know, look, I'm a big proponent of change. I just don't want another Cars attraction. And then on top of that, where do you put it? And then you cut into other possibilities wherever you do put it. And now, like as I said before earlier on in the show, I mean, I think we have too much Pixar already in the park. So I would leave Cars Land alone. It's the strongest area right now in DCA. And I would put that money towards some other stuff. Whatever, fixing Hollywoodland or anything else, really. I don't think it really needs it. Just in my opinion, Jesse, just my opinion. But what say you, Italiano?
For me, I do know that the backstage area that's going to now expand Avengers Campus was kind of earmarked for Cars Land back in the day if they did want to expand Radiator Springs, but obviously it's all going to go for Avengers Campus right now. But if I was to add something, it actually wouldn't be a ride or attraction. It would actually be a restaurant. And I would actually add in one of the original concepts that Imagineer Kevin Rafferty had when it was just Carland before it became Carsland. And it was kind of his version of like the sci-fi dine-in theater that's at Hollywood Studios down at Walt Disney World. Kind of have like an indoor-outdoor drive-in where you sit in the cars and you watch the drive-in while having dinner. I would add something like that.
That's cool. That's fun. That's very fun. Lucas and Disney, thank you so much, Lucas, for joining us. A friend of the channel here. Carsland in Walt Disney World can have Hornet Hudson. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, and that's the fun thing, right? Because we're going to get another angle to this Cars universe, so to speak, in Florida. So I think that's the best route to kind of, no pun intended, the best route. It's the best route to sort of like expand what you can do in theme parks with this franchise. I think it's better than kind of revisiting DCA again. I think DCA needs other stuff, more Cars. I just don't think we need that right now, in my humble opinion. Mr. Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK. One final question. Matthew, you can ask as many questions as you want, brother. Don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Well, assuming what time it is. I don't know what time it's in the UK. We'll see. It's probably like 3 a.m. or something crazy. Do you think there's any way Disney could have gotten by without acquiring 20th Century Fox? Yeah, they could have gone by. They could have gotten by. Absolutely. They didn't need it to survive. But I think the mindset with buying it was it would pump up their streaming services. And it did. It got them Hulu. It also got them the X-Men and all the Marvel stuff that Fox had. It got them Avatar, which is turning out to be a massive thing. I mean, Way of Water, what it clocked in at like $2 billion. I mean, Fire and Ash will probably do another $2 billion, you know? I mean, so it also opened up, look, now Disney can build Avatar attractions in their parks without paying licensing fees. That's a big deal. So there's a lot that came with it. You know, Simpsons is major on streaming. It tracks very well still after all these years. And Disney's been doing surveys about possibly adding Simpsons into the parks. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think that's a great idea, but you know, so they've gotten a lot from this Fox deal. They might even get their next CEO from it with Dana Walden. So, but yes, to wrap this up in a giant Minnie Mouse bow, they could have gotten by without it. They weren't going to collapse if they didn't buy Fox. But I do think it's helped them. I do think there was some benefit, and quite a bit of benefit actually from getting it. Short-term pain though, because Brian Roberts of Comcast smartfully, I don't know if that's a word, smartfully played corporate games basically and kept counterbidding and forced Disney to overpay for it, really, right? And I think that was smart on Brian's part as Disney's rival. So it definitely, they took a hit, I think, initially with the price tag for sure. It kind of clocked in about $50 billion after they sold the sports assets. $50 billion is a pretty big price tag, but I think that the long term is going to be very beneficial to Disney. Short term pain, long term gain. And also one downside though, one big downside is Fox's output of movies is a lot less now, because I talked about this actually on Bad Thought Studio. He's in the chat now, but we did a show recently about this, and Tones, you brought this up, where the output now for Fox is far less because it's part of the bigger Disney company now. And that's sad. That's sad to see and losing that, because Fox is a legendary studio, a legendary Hollywood studio. But what say you, Italiano? What do you think? Could they have survived without 20th Century, or what do you think?
For me, yeah, definitely. I feel Disney could, even Fox could have survived even without Disney, purchasing them. As you had mentioned, a lot of the heavy IPs with film and television, Avatar, The Simpsons, but it's definitely a great combination, so to speak, that Fox can help Disney, Disney can help Fox. We're getting another Pandora Land over at DCA because of it. As you had mentioned, a possible new CEO with Dana Walden. So yeah, I do feel like they definitely overspent, but I think Iger just really wanted that acquisition. And I think honestly, why he wants it, I think we're starting to see the small glimpses as to why. and it's gonna pay off in the long run for sure.
I think so too. I think they'll be just fine in the long run. Absolutely. Actually, I really liked that Alien Romulus movie. Surprisingly, I went to see that with a friend because he wanted to see it, and I was like, I don't really care about it, but I'll take the ride with you. We'll see it. Actually, I'm not an Alien fan, but that was actually a really good movie. I had a lot of fun with that movie. So, for what it's worth,
a lot of people said that it was pretty good for what it was.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I really did. I was kind of honestly like low key dreading watching it. I was like, oh fuck, I got to sit through 2 hours of this shit. And actually, I really enjoyed it. But Lucas and Disney, Lucas gifted 5 OG55 memberships. Thank you so much, Lucas. We do appreciate you. And actually, Lucas, I want to say happy birthday, a belated happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday, and I want to say
birthday.
Absolutely, Lucas. Absolutely, Lucas is finally old enough to drink. It's amazing. Finally old enough to drink, buddy. Have a beer on me. No, but absolutely, Lucas, you're a friend of the channel. We love having you on. We love hanging out with you, like a D23 and all that good stuff. And I just want to say happy birthday and thank you for everything. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and we really do. And as I said, OG said it before, I said it before, and we'll continue to keep on saying it. If it wasn't for Lucas, honestly, we would have never been able to attend the last D23. So,
exactly.
And honestly, we'll keep on saying it.
We'll keep saying it, Lucas. We're gonna be thanking you till the end of time, basically. So just get used to that. Just get used to that. Ronan Bunny with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Ronan. When do you think the trailer for Zootopia 2 will drop? Well, when does that movie come out? Do we even know when that comes out?
I think it comes out at the end of this year, I believe.
So
November-ish.
Oh no. Okay, so I would guess if it comes out in November, I'm guessing April-ish is when we'll get the first like little teaser trailer thing. I think going into the summer. That's kind of because here's my reasoning for that, because they're gonna have all the summer big movies, and they're gonna want that trailer to play in front of a lot of those movies for the summertime. Yeah. So I think April, maybe May-ish. So that's kind of where I'm at. What say you, George?
Yeah, I can definitely see that they'd drop the official teaser trailer like spring. Of course, spring like with the bunnies, no pun intended, but
yeah, exactly.
Moving into the summer, it's that way they can kind of pick up viewers for the winter season.
Yeah,
for sure.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. No, we can do animal jokes all day long here, but we won't.
That's being a little bit too sheepish.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, right?
Yeah.
No, but Walt's Apartments Podcast Network. What's up, guys? Walt's Apartments. Thank you so much for joining us. We were actually guests on their channel a couple times now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it's been twice now, and he's been on our channel. So friend of the channel, absolutely. So make sure you check them out on YouTube. And let's continue here. Man, we have a lot of people in the chat today. It's pretty awesome. Dragon Blood, member, your name, Dragon Blood, your name is like so badass. I feel like a badass just even saying it,
Dragon Blood.
Dragon Blood. Member for 2 months. I have an idea for Fantasyland Disneyland expansion. Take out the Fantasyland Theater for Beauty and the Beast and Fantasy Springs for Tangled and Frozen. Hey, you know what? I'm totally okay with that. The Fantasyland Theater is hideous. Back in my day, when it first opened, and I was on the AOL message groups, back in the dial-up days when that thing premiered or opened, we used to call it the Wonder Bra Theater, and honestly, it still holds up to that name, right? And it's all vinyl and it's ugly. Get rid of it. It takes up a good amount of room. Put something else in there. A Beauty and the Beast attraction would be amazing. I don't know. I would love that. Fantasy Springs. There's been talks about Fantasy Springs going into the Disneyland Forward expansion plot, which is like, what is it? Is that the Lilo and Stitch parking lot, George? I believe
the Lilo and Stitch parking lot is what's beyond Bayou Country.
Yeah, so that's the expansion for Disneyland. I don't really want Fantasy Springs in that area, and the reason why I don't want it in that area is because it feels redundant. It feels like another Fantasyland. So you have Fantasyland, and then across the entire park, you enter another Fantasyland, essentially. It made sense for Disney Sea because Disney Sea doesn't have a Fantasyland. So they have their version of Fantasyland now. But to have Fantasyland and then you walk across the park and go basically into another Fantasyland, it feels really weird to me. I don't want that at all. Personally, if they're going to change the theme or the direction of the theme for Disney California Adventure, and they make, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, if they turn it into Disney's Cinematic Adventure, then you can put a Fantasy Springs or something similar to that in that park, because now the park is called Cinematic Adventure. I'd rather that, because that park doesn't have a Fantasyland. But no, I don't want to see it at Disneyland unless there's a way they can tie Fantasy Springs into the already existing Fantasyland. If you can put it in the motorboat cruise area or something and work it in there, that's fine, because it's part of an overall Fantasyland. But I don't want it separate from Fantasyland. It bugs me enough with my OCD that we have Star Tours outside of the Star Wars land. That drives me nuts to this day. But what say you, George?
For me, I've mentioned this many times on the channel. I've actually talked to people while being in the park about it. And I know we were mentioning about Zootopia and everything. And there's a lot of talk of, is Zootopia going to come to DCA and what have you? I'm curious to know if maybe Zootopia might end up in Disneyland beyond Bayou Country. And they would put a Zootopia land in the Lilo and Stitch parking lot. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, how would that kind of fit in with Disneyland? It's more metropolitan with the City of Animals. But if you actually watch what we had seen at D23, there's scenes in Zootopia 2 that there's like a swampy marsh kind of in the country kind of style that they're moving for the sequel. So that would be perfect adjacent to Bayou Country, because then you're still also keeping with animals and critters and all that. It would tie in nicely, I think. Yeah,
absolutely. SD Drawings, thank you so much for being a member. We do appreciate you. What did you think about the guy suing Disney over Moana, saying he pitched a similar idea in the 2000s? I think it's funny he doesn't say anything until after Moana 2 became so successful. Yeah, that is the timing is very convenient, isn't it, SD? Very, very convenient.
And apparently he's asking for like residuals of like $50 billion.
Yeah, $50 billion. It's not going to happen. This happens actually pretty often with stuff. I think they had a similar issue with Lion King and things like that. This happens. A lot of people come out of the woodwork when a movie becomes a hit. So it's probably not going to go anywhere, SD Drawings. I mean, to be completely honest with you, it probably won't. So what say you, George?
Yeah, like I read the article and what his demands of what he was trying to get, and it literally not the case, but like the article came out the same day, I believe Moana 2 hit the $1 billion worldwide, and I'm like, okay, and he's just saying this now with everything of how successful both movies are to try to get as much out of it, and then for how much that he's asking for, the judge isn't going to buy it.
It's not going to go anywhere. I think we'll be fine. I honestly think it'll be fine. James Gorgie here says, thank you so much for joining us, James. We do appreciate you. What do you think will be next for Moana at Disney Parks now that Moana 2 has crossed $1 billion? I think we're going to get a big Moana attraction, probably at Walt Disney World, probably in Adventureland, right? I'm thinking a big e-ticket Moana thing. I think it deserves it. I love that Polynesian vibe. I love it. I mean, you can do so much with it. Moana is a great franchise, hugely popular. It deserves more than what they got at Epcot, I think. I'm not crapping on the Epcot stuff. I think it's cute, it's cool, but I think this franchise deserves a big like headliner attraction, and I think we're going to get it. I think we're absolutely going to get it in Magic Kingdom. We might get it out here in California too. We don't know what the Disneyland Forward stuff is going to be. You know what I'm saying? And we also don't know if Disney California Adventure is going to keep the California. So there's a lot of question marks with that. But we're definitely going to get a big e-ticket something somewhere for Moana. It's a matter of time. What say you, George?
Yeah, for me, there's like a few concepts of like what they can do with Moana. They can go back to like the volcano kind of roller coaster that they were supposed to do when the first movie came out. That was supposed to be in Adventureland. That was supposed to oversee the Polynesian Village Resort. You can kind of do what they're doing with Avatar with the Shanghai Pirates boat system, but utilize it for Moana and maybe put that in Magic Kingdom or even Animal Kingdom, because I mean the first piece of Blue Sky concept for where Tropical Americas is now going to become was a Moana attraction, Moana section. So, you know, just because that's not what's going in Tropical Americas, they can use that piece of concept art and that attraction, whatever it was supposed to be, and move it somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And Drew, the Disney dude, Disney California Adventure, new name, wouldn't shock me at all. It wouldn't shock me either. It wouldn't shock me either, because here's the thing too, Drew. This Avatar thing we're getting, this Pandora, is going to be the last thing to open with this next 5 years, obviously, right? So Pandora will open at the end of the 5 years. Well, it's kind of almost like the Cars Land situation for 2012. Remember when Cars Land was like the last thing to open, and they kind of rebranded and what was it called? Rededicated California Adventure with its new direction, right? And that was at the end of all that stuff. So it's possible that what they do is when Pandora opens, they kind of announce this theme change, this new direction for the park. Pandora is the thing that's sort of going to usher in this new era of DCA. It would not shock me at all. So I agree with you, Drew. I think it's actually pretty, I mean, I don't want to say like gonna happen, but I think that it's actually looking like it might. Now, I do want to address something. It says here, missed your super chat before the live started. I do want to apologize for that, Lucas. Sometimes it does that on my StreamYard. Like if it's been sitting there for a while, it disappears. But I think you did post it again. Let me put it in here. Yeah, you did. Okay. So I do apologize for that. It didn't show up on my end, but I'm glad you resubmitted the question. What is your expectation for Destination D23 this year, and what do you want to see and gathering at California Grill Lounge while live chat? So what say you, George? What's your expectation for this event? Are you expecting mostly Walt Disney World stuff? Is it possible Disneyland Resort is going to get a little bit of love?
A lot of times with Destination D23, it's usually heavy geared towards Walt Disney World because that's where they hold it. However, Disney can change things on a dime no matter what.
Well, and the last one was all about Downtown Disney, wasn't it? I remember we got all that Downtown Disney concept art at Destination D.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, and then
was it last year or the year before that? I don't remember.
I think that was the year before. The last one they did the announcement for the Tropical Americas. Like they announced it without actually announcing it, but they introduced like with Indiana Jones and Encanto. But here's the funny thing with this one. They're moving it now to Coronado Springs Resort. And they're, I guess, hyped up for demand. They have a bigger convention area for Coronado that's outside, that's bigger than the Contemporary. And who knows, Disney might just kind of go all out. I think for Destination D23, we're not going to get new project news, but new news updates on existing projects that were already announced at D23. So there is a possibility Pandora and or Coco might come up. Do you know what? No, because they did make a little hint towards the ride vehicle for Avengers Campus. So they did mention something with California.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little glimmers of news out here for Cali, you know? Which I hope we do. I hope they tell us where Pandora is going. That's all I want. I'm not exactly like a super like picky guy. All I want to know is where this thing is going. Just tell me where it's going, and I'm a happy OG. And then he goes, and then Lucas here says, gathering at California Grill /lounge while live chat. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean Lucas, like going live while we're there? Like if we go to the Destination D, like we go live? I'm not sure what you're asking. So clarify in the chat. Is that what you take from it, George?
Yeah, I thought like he was kind of using like play on words. Like if we were there, like we would be sitting up at California Grill, you know, in the lounge, having a few drinks, doing a live chat.
Yeah. No, I mean, if we end up going, yeah, that's a huge possibility that we would do that. Absolutely. 100%. Destination D23 is global now. Yeah. Because you're right. I remember like they didn't just talk Florida like that one. Like we got so much Downtown Disney stuff like the year before last at Destination D23, Drew, and all that concept art, that initial concept art came from that event. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Let me see here. Oh, we got Dragon Blood. Dragon Blood with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Dragon Blood. List of my ideas: Disney villains e-ticket, Godzilla and King Kong motion simulator, Elio, Wall-E motion simulator retheme of Star Wars. Oh, I like that. Elio, or you know what? I think Elio, if Elio becomes a hit, and actually there's another question in here about Elio I do want to bring up because it's interesting. But if Elio is a hit, it's a space-themed Pixar movie, that would be a good option for it, I think, is retheming Star Tours to that. Would Disney want to do that? I don't know, because Disney seems to utilize Star Tours as like its like promotional campaign thing. Like when Ahsoka premiered on Disney Plus, they had like the Ahsoka, stuff with the space whales and all that. So I don't know if they want to lose that for Star Wars because they don't really have a thing that they can do that somewhere else. I mean, they don't really play like with that, like over with Smuggler's Run. But I don't know. For me personally, I'd rather see Elio in there or Wall-E. That's a great option too. So we'll see. But great ideas. Godzilla versus Kong though is more of a Universal thing, I think. But go ahead.
Yeah. What if they utilize both Elio and Wall-E, sort of like how they change the adventures for Star Wars, but randomly you can get Wall-E, randomly you can get Elio. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That they utilize one building, one attraction for two different IPs.
Absolutely. And then thank you again, Dragon Blood. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for that generous super chat. Brian here says do you boys plan to do lives on Wednesdays or just randomly? Enjoying the live streams, but I don't always catch them in time. Yeah, unfortunately, Brian, with our schedules and stuff, because I have a regular 9 to 5. George has all kinds of stuff going on, so we kind of just do them when we have the time to do them. Yeah, unfortunately. What I would suggest though, Brian, is smash the notification bell on YouTube, and hopefully YouTube will send that out, because I usually put them up. I usually put the live streams up like at least a few hours before we do them. So that would be my biggest piece of advice to you.
We could never do it on a Wednesday because we have done it on basically any day of the week. Really, it just depends on how our schedules run, and also if we don't have a recording already pre-booked.
Right. Well. Exactly. Because a lot of times we'll have a guest on, and like, so we have it booked and we have to honor that, and we can't just go live. So there's a lot of variables here, but I would just suggest kind of hitting that notification bell so you get the notification. And we do appreciate you, Brian, for checking us out and enjoying the shows. We really, really do appreciate that. Thank you. It's Florentine in the house. A frozen land or attraction for Disneyland will highly occur based on the coming sequels, perhaps. It's why the wait for Anaheim. Yeah, it's possible. Look, they're going to put Frozen in Disneyland, and we know it. Okay, whether it's in the expansion plot, whether it's in the expansion plot for Disneyland Forward, whether it's the motorboat cruise area, which has been rumored forever to be frozen, we will get Frozen, and it will probably be based off of the new movies. So we'll see. And Drew, the Disney dude here, says my favorite guest is Drew, the Disney dude. Yeah. That Drew guy is pretty cool. Absolutely pretty cool.
He's really cool.
There he is. We got to give Drew a big shout out right here. Here he is. Let's go. Yeah, no, absolutely. Drew is really fun. We always have a great time with Drew on the channel. We love nerding out. We can go 2-3 hours with Drew easily, So really, really good time every time we have him on.
But I would say really quick, speaking of Frozen, I think Josh Gad put out a message on his social media and was saying that don't expect Frozen 3 to be out anytime before 2027. We're really working hard on not just doing like a cash grab or just doing another sequel. He said we're really wanting to create something epic as how we did in the original. So he didn't really note to Frozen 2, because I think a lot of people, it was kind of like lost in translation, but he was going back to the roots of the first Frozen. Yeah, absolutely. And we got the one, the only Mr. Slimer in the house. Sexy ass Slimer. We love you, Slimer. We love you. I'm holding out for Fantastic Four e-ticket in Tomorrowland that gives away for an overall retheme to 1960s Marvel World's Fair. Look, I mean, I love the aesthetics for this new Fantastic Four First Steps, I think it's called.
It looks really good. It's that 1960s sort of mid-century vision of the future, which is very in line with like the 1960s Tomorrowland at Disneyland. And I know we have Marvel, we have Avengers Campus over at DCA, but honestly, I really do think that Fantastic Four, I agree with Slimer, would be amazing in Tomorrowland. And if they go that route with that retro Jetsons kind of future aesthetic for the whole land again, this is it right here. So I hope this movie is like a banger and it makes like $1.5 billion so we can get something like that. Because I do think Fantastic Four, I do think if it goes anywhere at Disneyland Resort, it'll probably go in Tomorrowland. I completely agree. What say you, George?
I completely agree. And I feel this is where fans have to just wait and be patient and let Disney take their time with it, because there's not enough Disney IP that would really fit in Tomorrowland right now. Let things kind of flesh out with the film business and the studios. And you had mentioned with Fantastic Four, with Elio, let things come out that is central to space theme. And then maybe they can have the time to then revamp Tomorrowland. Plus, they're going to want to focus on a lot of the other aspects of these projects. Because right now, yes, the Tomorrowlands definitely need work. They do. But right now, they are still working well for guests, going on the attractions with Star Tours and Space Mountain and Buzz Lightyear. It's not my favorite land. Does it need work? Yes, it needs all the help it can get. But right now, it is still a working, functioning land that can still be utilized while Disney is dealing with other stuff right now.
Yeah, no, exactly. Disneyland, I'm not as privy to the Florida one because I've only been there once. So I don't want to speak too much on that one. But Disneyland's Tomorrowland, which I've been to 1.5 billion times, that one aesthetically is a complete and total mess. It's a hot mess. But, and there are, pieces of it that are like, like the launch bay and stuff like that are like, needs a lot of work. But overall, though, the attractions still pack them in. You got Space Mountain, Star Tours, Astro Blasters, even the submarines and stuff to always have really long lines. So there's not much incentive for Disney to go in there and start bulldozing stuff because people still show up. You know what I'm saying? So the attractions really aren't the problem. It's just the aesthetics. And I don't think that's a huge priority for Disney right now. So unfortunately, look, I want it. I want a new Tomorrowland so bad, and I want the People Mover back out here in California. But unfortunately, it's not really top of list thing for Disney because they want to do other things, So right now, I think the focus is going to be DCA, which it should be. DCA needs a lot of work, and then also I think some of this expansion pad stuff is a focus for them too, because that's where the moolah is at with the Frozen and these big franchises. So I think Tomorrowland's going to be back burner for a little while. It sucks. I don't think it, I mean, I hate to say it, but I want it done now too. But unfortunately, reality is, it's going to be a little while, I think. SD Drawing says here, do you think the live action How to Train Your Dragon and Elio opening on the same day will hurt Elio's box office potential? See, SD, I didn't know this until you brought this up, that they were opening on the same day. This has potential to really hurt Elio, to hurt it in a big way. And the reason why I'm saying that, it's the same demographic, basically, the family market. And How to Train Your Dragon is already an established franchise. It's a very popular people love those movies. Elio is a new thing. So I honestly, look, I'm not saying Elio is going to flop. I'm not saying that. I want it to do very well, but realistically, dude, I think there's a big chance it definitely hurts it. But what say you, George?
Yeah, I feel Elio is kind of a toss-up right now because that movie in particular had a lot of changes, a lot of production issues, changing storyline, changing animation, changing a whole lot of things. So it can kind of go either way. And especially now adding into the mix of the live action How to Train Your Dragon, that can really put a nail in its coffin for sure. But it could be possible that the live action How to Train Your Dragon could come out strong, but Elio might be one of those movies that has legs, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. To the moon, right? To the moon. Theme park conductor here. What's up, theme park conductor? Did you guys hear that Disney bought a ginormous warehouse near Disneyland? Could this mean more backstage areas are planning on being removed for theme park space? Unfortunately, no. I don't think that's what it means. We actually talked to a friend of ours who's pretty close to the situation, I guess. I don't want to say too much, but Disney's been occupying that building, conductor, for like 15 years already. This doesn't really change anything except for the fact that now Disney's not renting, they own the building. That's essentially all that is. So as far as I know, it's not going to really change the equation, but we'll see. Jay Brad here. It's always good to see you, Jay Brad. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, George, but I must respectfully disagree. Disney has a number of films that would fit, namely Meet the Robinsons, Flight of the Navigator, and The Black Hole. George, what say you of those options?
Absolutely. So, Jay Brad, unfortunately, I have to respectfully disagree that you respectfully disagree to my original statement. Although I will say I love all three of those movies. I really do. That's me being the film nerd and Disney fanatic that I am. Unfortunately, I don't think any one of those films that would resonate with today's audience. I feel like Disney has a bigger plan for the normies, so to speak, of like what is going to draw people into the park. As much as I would love to see Meet the Robinsons and Flight of the Navigator, I actually watched Flight of the Navigator actually on my last Disney cruise with our good friend Mindy. It's one of our favorite movies, but unfortunately, I feel like the demographic isn't just going to go for those IPs, unfortunately. So I think Disney's going to want to wait to see if Elio does really well, bringing out Fantastic Four. I think those are going to be the bigger hit IPs than these, unfortunately. But I do agree with you in the sense that these are good IPs that Disney owns, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Slimer here says Dark Universe HHN combo ticket package. No brainer or too soon? Well, that's interesting. I gotta say, I'm not super, like, I've only been, honestly, I'm not a huge HHN guy, although now I am, I will admit. But before this last season, I haven't been to HHN out here in California for like 20 something years. So, but in terms of kind of doing these ticket packages where you have like Dark Universe and HHN, I think that's a really, really smart idea. I mean, I think it is kind of a no-brainer, you know what I'm saying, where you would tie these things together. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. But again, I'm not as privy to the HHN stuff. So if I'm wrong, let me know. But what say you, George? You think they might have some sort of package deal with the HHN and Dark Universe?
That would be really cool. That would be a nice tie-in. I don't know if Universal is ready to do that yet. I feel like that they're going to want to kind of flesh all the kinks out first, because they don't even know what those kinks are going to be once they actually open Epic Universe and see what the park operations is, see what maintenance or anything that needs to be fixed. And I think in time, I think that would be a really cool package, but I don't think they'll do it just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. John McKinney with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, John. We do appreciate you. If Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, had been recast in the MCU, who would you have picked? My choice would have been Jason Isaacs, especially reading the comics and watching the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. What say you, Italiano?
I actually agree with that. I think Jason Isaacs would have been a really good Green Goblin, especially because his acting demeanor is very, very dark, especially with some of the villains that he already has played in the past, especially Lucius Malfoy from the Harry Potter series. He played Captain Hook in the 2003 live action Peter Pan that they did. So he does have like a dark tone that he would be. I think he would have been a good Green Goblin for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Mr. Drew, the Disney dude, heading out for the night. Thank you so much, Drew, for hanging out. We got to get Drew back on the channel very, very soon. Very, very soon. But thank you so much, Drew. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we got David Hudson here. OG, California Adventure doesn't necessarily need to change its name. It's already a cinematic adventure in California. Yeah, I mean, technically, you could make that argument. David, you're right. For me personally, I've heard that argument before. Like, well, it's a park in California, so you can kind of do whatever because it's in California. I would want a little bit more of an airtight theme than that. I think the normies would fly over a lot of the normies' heads a little bit. I would just rather change the name and just make it very easy to consume and digest, just for me personally. But I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Just all you have to do is just change that middle word to cinematic and call it a day, basically. And then the fans can
do anything you want at that point.
You can do anything, David. If you did that, you can have Villains Land over there. You can build the Moana e-ticket with a Polynesian area. You can do a Fantasy Springs. Literally, the sky is the absolute limit with that. So I would just change the name and just call it a day. I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. But then again, I'm kind of OCD with stuff. So that's how I stand. But what about you, George?
Yeah, no, I agree too. I think if you're going to kind of utilize the Disney IP that we all see that Disney is moving in that direction, I would definitely change it up and maybe change the title, because again, as I said, you can literally use anything of the Disney IP library if you change it to cinematic, because it's all film, so it would all make sense no matter where you put it.
Well, and then and you still can keep Buena Vista Street because it's cinematic adventures, and that Buena Vista Street theme is all about Los Angeles and kind of like that early filmmaker fire that Walt had, right? So that still makes sense in the context of a cinematic adventure. The only downside to having a cinematic adventure is now you have to find an IP for Grizzly Peak, because now that doesn't really work. And Soarin' too, and all that stuff. Now all that needs an IP to make sense. So that's an issue. Another issue with cinematic adventure, the hotel. That's another issue. So none of these solutions really are perfect, but I think the Disney Cinematic Adventure route is like the best of everything that we got, in my opinion. But thank you, David. We appreciate you. Great commentary and questions out there, David. Really great stuff. Keep them coming. Brian here says, do you think Robert Downey Jr. was worth the cost to come back? $100 million salary and bonuses like private jet access and security. It's tough. It is really, really tough. This is the thing, right? Because like the fans kind of have a hunger for like the old school cast and the old school Avengers, right? I think there's a hunger out there for the fans to kind of bring that back. So they bring back RDJ, and he's going to be Doctor Doom, right? It's fan servicey for sure. Okay, it is. I do think there's like we talked about, George, on the channel. There is a cool element there though with Peter Parker's interaction with that character and looking exactly like Tony Stark. I think that there's a lot of potential emotional things that can occur with that. But it's hard. That's huge. That's a big paycheck. So hopefully, these movies do really well and it's worth it. But it's a risk, and it does feel a little fan servicey. So, but unfortunately, look, a lot of the other movies and these kind of secondary characters just haven't really hit, and they haven't really landed. And I think Disney is sort of trying to light that spark again. And so RDJ, everyone loves him. So they're bringing him back and seeing how that goes. But what say you, George?
Yeah, it's a safe bet to bring back those actors, for even if it's for different characters. Yeah, because with Marvel you can kind of change up characters, and it would make sense based off how they utilize them in the comics. We had a conversation with Jay as part of our almost 3-hour show. We were talking about like the legacy and everything of Bob Iger. Well, This actually came up where Jay was saying, why not utilize the X-Men? Why not? Like, that would be a great change up for Marvel, and you can kind of go back to that Avengers era, because X-Men is kind of, if done right, it would be a no-brainer that it would be a huge success. And I asked Jay, and I said, I personally feel like rather than spend all the money on trying to bring back RDJ or Chris Evans and trying to redo this whole Avengers like lightning in the bottle kind of thing with Doomsday and Secret Wars, to kind of just let that be and just move forward with Fantastic Four and X-Men. And he actually agreed with me, and I really wish they would have done that for sure. But hopefully, with the amount, the price tag that they're paying for RDJ, I hope Doomsday and Secret Wars is a phenomenal hit from Marvel for sure, because they definitely need it. I mean, they've been, going through some misses right now, and I do hope that they kind of get back up to that playing field.
Yeah, just bringing Dr. Doom into the equation is also kind of a fan servicey thing. But right now, I mean, fan service isn't always a bad thing, right? And I think right now Marvel needs some fan service. I think they do. I think they've strayed away a little bit too much. I think they need a little bit of that fan service. But you bring up a great point, though. $100 million to bring them back, that's a hefty price tag. Mr. Webba says here, OG, if you could pick the characters, which characters would you want Disney to make a K-pop album from? Okay, here's the thing, Mr. Webba. I don't know if I'd want them to make a K-pop album, but what I would want, actually, is I would love to see Disney kind of get away. We've seen a lot of European fairy tales in Disney's history, right? And they've diversified over the years with like stories like, Mulan and what have you. But I would, in Moana, but I would love to see Disney kind of tap into like some South Korean culture and look into their fables and stories and do an animated film based on South Korea. And then with that animated film based on South Korea, you can go in there and start to bring in some of these K-pop idols. Because believe me, I'm telling you, I used to poo-poo K-pop. I never had any interest in it, okay? These idols are so incredibly talented. I am telling you right now. And the girls from like Baby Monster, the vocals from those girls, absolutely incredible, okay? I would love to see Disney kind of tap into some of these K-pop artists and utilize them as maybe voice cast and like for like the songs and what have you, for any kind of South Korean like storytelling that they would do for an animated film. I think it'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've been saying that for a really, really long time. I've been really, really, really bullish on that. Since I got into K-pop and seeing the amount of talent that's in that industry, I would love to see Disney kind of tap into that and utilize that for an amazing South Korean animated musical. That's just kind of where I stand. But Mr. Webba has a part two for the Italiano. George, should Universal enter the cruise line after they open a UK park? If so, what would you like to see?
So, Mr. Webba, there were some talks that Universal was thinking about going into the cruise line business. I think it would have been really cool because they said, now again, this wasn't definite, but they had mentioned that they would, maybe buy up an island and kind of recreate it like Jurassic Park, which I think that would have been really cool just in that aspect alone. However, when you're dealing with a cruise line, it's not just about the destinations you're going to. It's not just about like the ports of call, but it's what's on board within the cruise ship itself. If you have at sea days, or just, to utilize your time being on a cruise ship. And I feel like, as much as I know that Universal has strong IP, characters and story and movies, I don't know how well that would mix as a cruise ship. But as I said, the stop, like a port of call of stopping into an island that's designed like Jurassic Park, that would be really cool.
Yes.
But just have that one aspect, they need a little bit more to withhold, I think, for a cruise line.
Fair point. Mr. J. Brad here says, question, if Disney decided to cut their losses with Marvel, what would you have all the Avengers-based areas and attractions re-themed to? Great question, J. Brad. Now, J. Brad, we had J. Brad on the channel a couple of months ago, and he had amazing like blue sky concepts for the fifth park and all that stuff. So J. Brad, check out that video because he has incredible concepts. This is a tough one because the Avengers, like for example, right? Like Avengers Campus. Like what could that be other than Avengers? You can't do Star Wars with that, right? Like what else could it possibly be besides that? I'm trying to think through all the Disney IP. I mean, yeah, I don't even know, honestly. Like I think you would have to sort of like bulldoze it and start over again, in my opinion, because there isn't really much to put there. What do you think, George?
That's a tough situation, because especially where Avengers Campus was placed, because again, that wasn't the initial spot it was supposed to go. It was actually supposed to go in Hollywoodland and then expand out to the bus load unload area of where potentially Pandora is going now. But because the Eastern Gateway project didn't go through the first time, they ended up axing a Bugs Land, and in came Avengers Campus. So the placement is kind of weird, but I don't know really what they would replace it with, because especially they would have to then retheme Mission Breakout again.
Well, yeah, you have to retheme Mission Breakout, and then the web building, this Web Slingers building, is this weird, like hodgepodge of like modern technology and like an old auto factory. Like, what can you put in there that would make sense at that point? That's why I'm saying it's kind of a weird. It's like it was like made for like Marvel, really. You know what I'm saying?
Aside from Mission Breakout, I think they really would probably have to kind of like demo it and kind of restart whatever IP that they would choose. I'm not saying that Disney couldn't, but I think that would be kind of I really don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Me too. Yeah, I'm very curious what Jay Brad thinks, because like I said, Jay Brad has incredible ideas. We did a whole video with him, and he does amazing concepts. But it's tough with at least Avengers Campus, because it's Marvel. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, with the Stark Automotive Factory converted into this weird web slinger modern thing. What else could that possibly be? I mean, maybe you can do like a property like Wall-E, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. I think with Avengers Campus, it's small enough that you could bulldoze it and just sort of like make it part of Pandora or something. Like, you just kind of have to just eat it. You know what I'm saying? At that point, because it's too much of a hodgepodge. And then, like you said, with what do you do with Mission Breakout? Like, what would that even be?
Yeah, and it would depend on whatever IP Disney would then, because it would still have to make sense to have a dropping sequence.
Right, because I've had ideas for that building before. Like, I think Spider-Man would be dope, because you can have Spider-Man trying to save you, and he's web slinging your elevator car. So that explains why you're going up and down. He's trying to save you from falling. It makes sense. Even like a Doctor Strange retheme would be dope, because you can have like projection mapping, like all this crazy freaking multi-dimensional shit like in the shafts while you're going up and down, right? So I have a ton of Marvel ideas for Mission Breakout, but what can you do with other IPs though? Like an Avatar thing? That'd be weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a tough one. That's a great question, Jay Brad. Actually, that might be a good thing to think about and make a whole video about.
I think we might have to.
I think we might, because that's a fascinating concept. And Jay Brad, if we do that video, I'll reach out to you and we'll do that together. I want you on that show for sure. That's fascinating. Lucas and Disney with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for joining us, Lucas. Again, hanging out with us tonight. I know it's late over there, but we do appreciate you. Yes or no? Disney plus Hulu buying Power Rangers. Carmen Ryder writes again, but with CWDC style K-drama, J-drama, screenwriting with Marvel, Star Wars, CGI effects included, while Power Rangers is for kids and Carmen is for adults. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that would bring content, I think, for the streamers. And what you're saying here, Lucas, is it's an interesting concept for a streaming service, I think, so I wouldn't be against it. What say you, George?
Yeah, I would definitely be for that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. We got Kaylee with 2 E's, and she goes, "Yo, what's up? What's up, Kaylee? Welcome to the show. We do appreciate you, Kaylee, with 2 E's." And Kaylee is a Californian, so here we go.
Hi, Monster Hunter Pete.
There we go. Yo, Mr. Webba. Oh, hold on. We got some love. We got some Kaylee. We got some love. Let's see here. Was this the one you were doing?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, for the Disney princesses, rate their feet on a scale of 1 to 5. Well, we all know that Rapunzel's got the best feet. We all know that.
Yeah. Me personally, I think between, I'd say like Rapunzel would be number 1, and Ariel would probably be number 2 because really they're the only 2 princesses I actually think that have like dimension to their feet. Like they actually show their toes that like spread out and wiggle and everything. The other princesses, it just looks like a foot. Like there's no dimension to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna go Rapunzel. Absolutely. Kaylee says Webba in the house. Webba is in the house. Edna Mode here says, what are your thoughts on possibly The Simpsons going into Hollywoodland instead? Or if they add The Simpsons, where would you want it? Yeah, I have a couple ideas for The Simpsons. Number one, I think for Oogie Boogie Bash. I think it'd be really, really cool to have a Treehouse of Horror thing somewhere. Maybe like in the where they do Villains Grove right now or something, have a Simpsons Treehouse of Terror somehow incorporated into Oogie Boogie Bash. I think that would be really, really dope. If they do Simpsons, I don't want them to go the Universal route and just recreate Springfield again. That's really uninspired and kind of I would like to have, I think George, you and I discussed it, where they do like a great movie ride, but with the Simpsons characters. So you have like Homer holding up Maggie, like on Pride Rock, like reenacting the Lion King and all that stuff. I think that'd be really, really fun, you know? So if they do Simpsons in Hollywoodland, which is the spot they should do it, like an attraction, get a little creative with it, Disney. Don't just do what Universal did, because I expect more. I expect more. And to be fair to Universal, that whole Simpsons thing was before Comcast bought them. So that's probably why it doesn't look that great. But what say you, George? What do you think, brother?
Yeah, for me, I definitely love your idea with the Treehouse of Horror with the Simpsons. That would be the creative approach that you would have to go with the Simpsons. It's not just necessarily just doing something on a normal nature, which we all know the Simpsons isn't like normal in the sense they always have like these wacky, crazy adventures, but it can't be to like a normal standpoint. You have to do something creative. Like you had mentioned the Treehouse of Horror for like Oogie Boogie Bash. I had mentioned if they just did a standalone attraction, do like a great movie ride, but reenact it with the Simpson characters and everything. I think that would be kind of, sorry, the chat.
Yeah, I know the chat. We're gonna get to it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Absolutely. Cream Puff here says, which non-Disney brand is the strongest? DC, Nickelodeon, DreamWorks, Cartoon Network, or WB or Hasbro? I've been saying this for the longest time, Cream Puff. I think Warner Brothers has the best IP outside of Disney. It's been mismanaged like crazy since the AOL buyout in the early 2000s. I think it was in the year 2000, actually. It's been mismanaged like crazy, but they have the best between the Looney Tunes, Animaniacs, all that good stuff. They have so much good stuff. And they even own all the, I believe, they even own the Cartoon Network and the Hanna-Barbera stuff. So even like Scooby-Doo is Warner Brothers. So I think that's the strongest. I think WB has the absolute strongest. The problem is that they've been mismanaged. They need someone to come in there and sort of revitalize it. I thought David Zaslav was going to be the guy to do that. Unfortunately, he is far from it. I think he's been a total shit show disaster, at least on the animation front, especially on the animation front. But yeah, I would like actually like Universal to come in and buy Warner Brothers or something, because I think Universal could do a great job with it. But yeah, it's Warner Brothers all the way. Absolutely. What say you, George?
I'm right there with you. I think Warner Brothers has a tremendous catalog of IP that could really be utilized well in the theme park environment. And as you had mentioned, anytime, we talked about it many times with many people on the show, that if Universal did buy up Warner Brothers, that would definitely give Disney a run for their money as far as like the head honchos of like the IP franchise to be utilized in the parks for sure, especially in California, because you then have the WB studio lot right down the hill from Universal Hollywood.
Yep, absolutely. And that would open up, if they can move a lot of the Universal stuff, sound stages and all that stuff, to the Warner Brothers lot, that would open up theme park space for Universal Hollywood. So it's a win all around for them if they buy Warner Brothers. That would be really, really exciting. Cassandra here says, I have so many questions for someone with a foot fetish. Cassandra's awesome. We love Cassandra. And then Jay Brad here says, Cinderella literally has the most perfectly shaped feet as per the story. George, Jay Brad coming in with a pretty solid argument. What say you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like I think they just needed more detail, like in the toes and stuff. But like her instep and her arch and the heel, like that was perfectly fine. Like, yeah, I could definitely agree with that with Cinderella. She just needed more detail in like the. It's all about the small details.
Yeah.
But Cassandra, yeah, you could definitely. I could definitely have a conversation. It's a bizarre kind of art form, so to speak.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, we need an episode just on feet. Absolutely. Cassandra, if we make that episode, you better be there because I want your feedback on this. You know what I'm saying? We can, you know what we can do? We can even like go through like, you know, Disney princess feet and rate them and all kinds of like pictures.
I don't know. Has anyone ever actually been on the app of WikiFeet? Like literally, it's like people and celebrities like that. They just like they zoom in, like whether they're on the red carpet or on like a beach or poolside, they'll zoom in on their feet and you like give a rating of like what their feet is. And it's not even just really celebrities. Anyone can do it. There's actually people who make YouTube videos that they'll blurry out their feet on purpose because they save it because people will pay an upcharge on those websites.
Absolutely.
Not that I know that or anything, but
yeah, absolutely. And here we go. We got Ryan here. Here comes George's dream about Ebba's feet tonight. You know it, George. You know it. Secretly, yeah, it's gonna happen, Ryan. I completely agree with you. Florentine here says Aladdin's got nice feet. There you go. There you go. Hey, what about our dudes? What about our men? You know, you can't leave them out in this feet conversation, you know? So absolutely. And Slimer George's toenail clipping sale price is $200 tax plus tax. Is that true, George?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
If that would be, man, I'd be balling.
Oh, you'd be balling out of control, bro. Out of control. Okay, so we are going to close it out tonight, but we're not closing it out before we do some announcements. George, I'll let you do your announcement first, and then I got another one after that. So go ahead, George.
Thank you. So, been kind of thinking about this. Oh, first of all, I just have to say thank you, everyone who is in the chat today and was part of the conversation. We love doing this. Thank you for sticking around. And as I said, we greatly appreciate every single one of you. It's been a while since we did a live, and I have to say this was one banger of a show. But again, it wouldn't be a banger of a show without all of you being part of the conversation, asking the questions, you know, and all that. So we greatly appreciate that.
And not to cut you off, but yep. J Brad coming in with the heat says, which Disney girl has the best armpits? I mean, that's a tough one.
Jasmine.
Oh, Jasmine. Yeah, well, she's got the best everything. So let's be honest. Yeah. But go on, George.
Okay, so I've been kind of fiddling with this for quite some time, been putting it off, putting it on, was thinking about it, and then ever since becoming a California local and being out here, going to the parks regularly, I thought this would be the best time to do so. So we're kind of giving you a little teaser now. It's not up and running yet, but OG and I are working on it right now. But there is going to be a sister channel to Orange Grove 55, and it's going to be dedicated to everything of vlogging, in-part vlogs, whether it's at Disneyland, Walt Disney World, even the Disney Cruise Line, Knott's Berry Farm, Universe,
Strip Club, all of it.
Of course, yes, absolutely.
I'm just kidding. I was kidding.
There's gonna be, well, there are going to be a few surprise vlogs that you'll see from us of like our wacky adventures with me, OG, Mr. Webba, any kind of content that we can kind of come up with. It'll be like on the spot recording. It's going to be our flavor of vlogging. So everything that you see here in the OG55 studio, you will still get in the vlogging. So we're going to keep that the same, but we'll be doing food reviews, possible events in the parks and vacations and everything. So definitely check it out. We've actually, Mr. Webba was the one that helped me come out with the title of the channel, because I wanted to keep it within the Orange Grove 55 brand, but I couldn't decide. But we settled on Citrus Central.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'll be running the channel. However, OG will be helping me, and I'll still be part of Orange Grove 55. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. All this is, folks, is we're expanding out OG55. We're expanding out those Orange Groves for sure. So I'll be running one channel. OG will be running another. OG will be joining in on the vlogs, behind the scenes and in front of the camera. Mr.
Absolutely.
Emma, Abby, and whoever else is willing to want to be part of that adventure with us. But it should be coming online very, very soon. But we will have more details in the coming weeks for sure.
Yeah, and we want to do something different because we do know that, like, you know, like the Disney vlogger space is very saturated. There's a lot of it out there, you know. So we're gonna do it differently. A lot of the stuff we do, like I was telling George, like I would love to like peel out. I would love to do like interviews of like, you know, talking to like guests at the park and stuff, and like having fun with people in the parks and doing all that, like stuff that a lot of other vloggers don't do really. So it will be different. It'll be different kind of content over there for sure. But yeah, check that out. Now,
Yes, definitely. So if you love the content already, support the channel. When the channel comes up online, we will definitely let you know. We definitely would appreciate every single one of you to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's get this channel up and running, so that way we can bring even more content out for you coming from the OG55 crew.
There we go, Mr. Webba. Throw up those oranges. Yes, throw them up. And then Cassandra here, strip club members only. Exactly. Cassandra, I'm telling you, we'll do a vlog from the club. You know what I'm saying? We'll do a job from the club. It'd be fantastic. Okay, so since Mr. Webba, where's my Mr. Webba? There he is. Since Mr. Webba's in the chat, for those of you that might have missed it, Webba and I did a video the other day, a webisode, so to speak, of the Haunted Mansion hanging room. Okay, and it was actually the very first web shots episode for everybody, because Webba has done a couple of web shots episodes for members a couple of months ago, but web shots and Webbavision, their shows here on OG55, you're gonna be seeing a lot more of those, and it's hosted by the one and only Mr. Webba, and so it's all Webba. Like Webba comes up with the topics, the ideas. On web shots, it's a short form thing, so you'll see content that's like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, quick little bites, quick little topics. We get in there and discuss, and then we dip out. Webbavision is more like this, with Mr. Webba hosting, and that's to be more conversational. And like I said, Webba is managing that show, so it's his ideas, his stuff. I know Cassandra, I know she's a huge fan of Mr. Webba's rants, because he does amazing stuff with the rants. You know what I'm saying? Don't even get this guy started on insurance or Galaxy's Edge, because either one of those topics, Webba will go off, absolutely off. So yeah, he's gonna be doing those shows, and Webbavision will be premiering soon. Web Shots is already up. Check it out. There's a video called all about the Haunted Mansion a couple of days ago. Here's the logo. And that's actually courtesy of Mr. Webba. I also do want to give a shout out to Mr. Webba, because he's actually been helping me quite a bit behind the scenes, even with like editing and stuff. He made the intro himself, which is really dope, but he's helped out with the future show we're doing with Kiki and Luca, all about Tokyo. So I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Webba for that. He's been crushing it with the editing skills and everything behind the scenes. And Cassandra says she's always here for the Webba rants. Yes, we all are. And Webba, we have got to do that insurance show. We will rant all day about insurance. But any thoughts on Webbavision and web shots, Mr. Italiano?
Yeah, again, congratulations to Ebba for coming up with his own kind of format, so to speak, of like what he wants to discuss and talk about. And as I said, the OG55 brand is growing. You know, those orange grove trees, they're really branching out. You know, no pun intended. Yeah. So,
branching out.
What's that?
Oh yeah, you're right. They're branching out.
Yeah. So very exciting news all around of like what's to come for the future of the channel. As I said, we're still going to be doing all the shows that you love here on OG55, all the member exclusive stuff, live shows. And as I said, you're going to just be getting a lot more. Nothing is going away. We're just expanding more with the sister channel of Citrus Central, Ebba starting his section on the channel. So there's just a lot of amazing stuff coming out. It's 2025, a new year. Let's get it.
Yeah, and Mr. Kiki and Luca here says Mr. Webba is such a good dude more than anything else. He absolutely is. Webba is a stand-up guy. We love the wonderful Mr. Webba. Everyone here loves the wonderful Mr. Webba. And Lucas, what? Wait, no gaming channel? Okay, this is the thing. We actually did a video. Webba, speaking of Webba, and Mr. Seymour Duck. The three of us did a whole video on Nintendo Switch 2. And we were talking about not a whole channel. I'm not gonna do a whole gaming channel, but like having maybe like Mario Kart, like championships or whatever, like competitions, like for the OG55 crew, like videos like that. Like, you know, we all compete on Mario Kart and it's like live, right? So we're going to dip into some of that stuff, but that's further down the road, so to speak. A little Mario Kart joke there, you know, but yeah, we do want to do some of that here and there. Again, we're not going to dedicate a whole channel to gaming or anything like that, but we will definitely, we're definitely looking into some like video game stuff on the channel where we can just have fun and talk shit and like throw some blue shells at each other, you know? So it'll be a lot of fun. And shout out to Mr. Seymour Duck. Absolutely. We love our Mr. Duck. He's awesome. Seymour's a hilarious dude as well. Like he is really funny in the DMs, bro. Seymour is a great, great guy. We love Seymour. But everybody, also, hold on one sec. There we go. Long time no talk, crew. I hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much, California Dreamin'. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me see here. And Dragon Blood, the Smell-O-Vision review. Yeah, Dragon Blood, you watched our Nintendo video. That was a hilarious video. Thank you for watching it. That was funny. Remy D, more collabo with CapTheMagic, please. Yes, we love Jared over there. He's awesome. Definitely want to do more. Remy, if you haven't checked him out recently, George and I did a show on his channel, or a live show. I think it was like about a week ago now. So it's up there, I believe, still. So go ahead and check it out and subscribe. Show him all the love. Tell him that OG55 sent you, because CapTheMagic is freaking awesome. Mr. Webba, let's get it. Congratulations, George. There he is, Mr. Italiano.
Thank you, Mr. Webba.
Spreading those seeds. That sounded kind of dirty, but okay. Well, oh man, yes, Cassandra. Well, see, that's why I've been working out. That's why that's why Tones Poppy was saying that I look more buff. You know, I gotta have a few months, you know, working on my physique, and then we're gonna do some OnlyFans stuff. So I look forward to it, you know. So, but no, in all seriousness, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Really fun show. I want to thank everybody again: Jay, Brad, Kiki, and Luca, Mr. Webba, California Dreamin', everybody, Florentine, Shane Narani, Jesse Adventure, Sam Chat, Lucas, Kim, 6 Miles Tall, everybody, Kaylee with 2 E's, Kaylee. Ryan Turner, just everybody. I want to thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55 Live. I want to also wish everyone a very, 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 very happy Lunar New Year. I hope you got a lot of red envelopes. And thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, see you later. And Cassandra, here we go. We're going to get real thirsty, real thirsty for the Asian Queen with 3 E's. Here she is.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.